I was a Boko Haram fighter until Jesus walked into my prison cell. I killed over 50 people, burned churches, shot pastors, slaughtered families. I did it without blinking. I thought I was fighting a holy war. I thought I was doing it for God. But the truth is, I was a murderer looking for a reason to justify my hatred. Until the night Jesus Christ himself walked into my prison cell. My name is Umaru Bako. I was born and raised in Maiduguri, northeastern Nigeria, right at the edge of the fire that would become Boko Haram. My father was an Islamic teacher. My mother died giving birth to my sister when I was just 8. Life was harsh. By the time I turned 16, my father had been killed in a crossfire between insurgents and the Nigerian army. I watched him bleed out in my arms, and I made a vow I would never be weak again. I would fight. I would become fire. At 17, I joined Boko Haram. It wasn't difficult. They promised food, weapons, power, and revenge. I was angry, bitter, and broken. I didn't know I was also lost. In their camp, I was trained in warfare, in handling AK-47s, in planting explosives, and in killing without emotion. We were taught that Christians were the enemies of Allah, that killing them was a path to eternal reward. I believed every word. My first kill was a pastor. We stormed his church one Sunday. The congregation ran, but he stood his ground. He held up a Bible and said, "Jesus still loves you." I pulled the trigger. 3 shots. His blood sprayed across the pulpit. Something inside me shook, but I buried it quickly. That night, we celebrated with stolen food and fire. Over the next 2 years, I became one of the most feared fighters in our unit. They called me the Viper. I led attacks. We burned down schools and churches. We kidnapped girls. We terrorized entire villages. I once saw a woman give birth in a bush while hiding from us, and I ordered her executed. I wish I could forget that, but her scream never left my head. One night, in a village in Yobe State, I found a small girl hiding under her dead mother. I pointed my rifle at her. She looked up at me, eyes full of tears, but steady. Then she whispered, "Jesus still loves you." The same words the pastor had said. For the first time, I hesitated. I lowered my weapon, but my fellow fighter saw me and mocked me, saying I was going soft. I kicked the girl aside and walked away. I never saw her again. Months later, during a planned ambush against a military checkpoint, we were surrounded. It was a trap. Bullets rained down. Bodies dropped. I was shot in the leg and captured. For the first time in years, I wasn't in control. They threw me into a dark cell in a military detention center. No contact, no prayer mats, no curing, just 4 concrete walls and my guilt. At first, I was proud. I thought I'd be rescued. But days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. No one came. The voices of the people I'd killed began to speak in my dreams. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I begged Allah for peace. I begged him to take the pain. But heaven was silent. One night, I'll never forget it. It was 2:45 a.m. The lights in my cell flickered. I thought it was power failure, nothing new in Nigeria. But the air changed. It felt heavy, but warm. A presence entered the room. I looked up and there he was, a man, glowing, dressed in white, eyes like fire yet filled with love. I wanted to scream. My heart raced, but I couldn't move. He walked closer. No sound, no footsteps. Then he said my name, Umaru. I froze. Umaru, I forgive you. That was all. I broke. I began to cry like a child. I fell to the ground, trembling. "Who are you?" I asked. He smiled. "I am Jesus, the one they told you to hate. But I love you. I died for you too." Then, just like that, he was gone. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in that corner, shaking, crying, remembering every face, every village, every body. And for the first time since I was a boy, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. The next morning, I called the prison chaplain. He had come many times before, trying to talk to me. I always insulted him, spat at him, cursed his Jesus. But this time, I begged him for a Bible. He looked at me like I was mad. Then he wept. He gave me a small, tattered Bible through the bars. I held it like gold. I didn't eat for 2 days. I just read. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I read about Saul, how he killed Christians until Jesus met him on the road. That story became my story. If God could forgive Saul, maybe he could forgive me. In that prison cell, I gave my life to Christ. I prayed the prayer with tears streaming down my face. Jesus, I believe. I don't deserve your love, but if you still want me, I am yours. I was baptized in that same cell 3 months later. The prison officers couldn't believe it. They said I was a new man, and they were right. I began preaching to other inmates. Some mocked, some threw food at me, but some listened. A few gave their lives to Christ too. The man they once feared, they now called Brother Umaru. In 2022, after 3 years in prison, I was released under a special rehabilitation program for repentant extremists. Many people protested. Some said I didn't deserve freedom. Maybe they are right. But I'm not the man who walked into that cell in chains. I walked out free, inside and out. Today, I live under a new name in a rural village in central Nigeria. I don't hide my story. I tell it often, not to glorify what I did, but to glorify what Jesus did for me. I work with young men at risk of radicalization. I tell them there's another way. That fire doesn't only destroy, sometimes it purifies. I use my scars to testify. Not everyone accepts me. Some still see me as a killer. Some churches refuse to let me speak. But I understand. I wouldn't have trusted me either. That's why I live each day to show that the power of Christ is real. Not just to heal, but to completely transform a man. From darkness to light. From murderer to messenger. From the viper to his servant. I still dream of the little girl who whispered, "Jesus still loves you." Maybe she's alive somewhere. Maybe she'll see this video. If you do, I want you to know your words stayed with me. They planted a seed, and Jesus watered it. To anyone watching this, maybe you're not a killer. Maybe your prison is guilt, addiction, shame, or trauma. Maybe you think you've gone too far. Let me tell you this. If Jesus could forgive a Boko Haram fighter, he can forgive you. If he could walk into my prison cell, he can walk into your heart. Right now, just open the door. Say this with me. Jesus, I believe you died for me. I accept your forgiveness. I surrender to you. Make me new. If you said that prayer, welcome home. You're no longer a prisoner. You're free. And if this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Because someone else out there may be one testimony